Across the ancient lands of Africa, long before colonial borders and the arrival of European ships, there were women who ruled, not from the shadows, but from the front lines. Women who commanded armies, wielded political genius, protected traditions, and shaped dynasties. These were queens not just by bloodline, but by vision, courage, and destiny. In this journey through time, we unveil the stories of 10 legendary African queens who defied expectations, led kingdoms, and left behind legacies that still echo today. This is not just history, it's royalty rediscovered. Queen Amina of Zazzau, the warrior queen of the Hausa. Queen Amina of Zazzau, now Zaria in northern Nigeria, lived in the 16th century and remains one of Africa's most revered warrior queens. Born into the royal family, she was the granddaughter of King Sakin Nohir and the daughter of Queen Bakwa Turunku, the first female ruler of Zazzau. From a young age, Amina was exposed to military strategy and court politics. Unlike most princesses, Amina chose the path of a warrior. She'd trained in horseback riding, spear throwing, and led military drills alongside her brother. After the death of her brother Karama, she ascended to the throne around 1576. But she didn't just rule, she expanded, and brutally so. In just a few decades, Amina conquered over 34 cities and towns across Hausa land. She built massive defensive walls known today as Amina's Walls that still stand in parts of northern Nigeria. Her empire stretched from modern-day Nigeria into Niger, Mali, and Cameroon. She ensured Zazzau became the hub of trans-Saharan trade in kola nuts, salt, and gold. Despite her fame, she never married. It is said she took a lover in every conquered town and had them executed the next morning to avoid political complications. Amina, daughter of Nikatao, a woman as capable as a man, Hausa oral tradition. Queen Amina proved that leadership was not about gender. It was about will, courage, and brilliance. Princess Yanenga, the warrior matriarch of Burkina Faso. Long before Burkina Faso existed, a warrior princess changed the fate of a people. Her name was Yanenga, the revered founder of the Mossi kingdoms. Born in the 12th century to King Ndega of the Dagomba in modern-day Ghana, Yanenga was raised like a prince. She had learned archery, spear fighting, and led battalions by age 14. But her father, proud of her military prowess, refused to let her marry, fearing he would lose her to another kingdom. Determined to live life on her own terms, Yanenga disguised herself and escaped the palace on horseback. After days of riding through forests and rivers, she was rescued by a hunter named Riale. They fell in love and gave birth to a son named Uedraogo, the founding ancestor of the Mossi people. Today, Yanenga is honored as the mother of the Mossi nation. Her statue stands proudly in Ouagadougou, and Burkina Faso's national football team is named Les Etalons, the Stallions, in her honor. Yanenga symbolizes not just royal blood, but determination, agency, and the birth of a people. Queen Nzinga of Ndongo and Matamba, Angola's anti-colonial lioness. In 17th century Angola, the Portuguese sought to dominate the Ndongo and Matamba kingdoms. But one woman defied them all, Queen Nzinga Mbande. Born in 1583 to the ruling Ngola family, Nzinga was educated, fluent in Portuguese, and politically astute. Her legend began when she attended peace talks with the Portuguese governor. He offered no chair, a subtle insult. She motioned to a servant who knelt, becoming her throne, asserting she was not beneath any man. After her brother's death, Nzinga took power controversially but decisively. She converted to Christianity for diplomacy, then later embraced traditional religion as war reignited. For over 30 years, Nzinga fought colonial incursions, formed alliances with escaped slaves and European mercenaries, and established Matamba as a commercial and military powerhouse. She died at 81, undefeated and unbowed. To Angolans, Nzinga is a national hero, a woman who used diplomacy, warfare, and brilliance to keep her people free. Queen Makeda, the Queen of Sheba. She appears in the Bible, the Quran, and Ethiopian Chronicles Queen Makeda, known globally as the Queen of Sheba. Though some debate her historicity, Ethiopian tradition holds that Makeda ruled a rich kingdom, possibly Saba or Aksum, around the 10th century BCE. She famously traveled to Jerusalem to meet King Solomon, drawn by his wisdom. According to the Kebra Nagasts, their union produced a son, Menelik I, who became the founder of the Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia. This dynasty lasted for over 2,000 years and claimed direct descent from both Makeda and Solomon, including Emperor Haile Selassie. Makeda's journey symbolizes not just diplomacy and cross-cultural connection, but African sovereignty and wisdom. To this day, Ethiopians regard her as the spiritual mother of their empire, Queen Amanirenas, the one-eyed general of Kush. In 24 BCE, the mighty Roman Empire marched into Nubia, expecting another easy conquest, but they were met with fire from a one-eyed queen named Amanirenas. She was one of the Candaces ruling queens of the kingdom of Kush, which flourished in what is now Sudan. When Rome annexed parts of northern Nubia, Amanirenas struck back. She led thousands into battle, destroyed Roman fortresses, and returned with war spoils, including the head of a statue of Emperor Augustus. She buried that head beneath the steps of a temple, so all who entered would literally walk over Caesar. Though eventually peace was made, Rome withdrew from Nubia, a rare defeat in their imperial history. Queen Amanirenas remains a symbol of defiance, power, and African military genius. Queen Ranavalona and the Iron Queen of Madagascar. On the island of Madagascar in the 19th century, one woman stood between her kingdom and the advancing grip of colonial Europe. Her name was Queen Ranavalona I, and her rule was as fierce as it was controversial. She ascended the throne in 1828 after the death of her husband, King Radama I. From the moment she took power, she rejected European influence, Christianity, and trade pacts imposed by the French and British. Ranavalona expelled missionaries, banned Christian conversions, and reinstated traditional Malagasy religion. Her policies were seen by many as brutal, including the infamous Tangina trials, where guilt was determined by poison. But to others, she was preserving sovereignty and cultural identity. Under her rule, Madagascar remained independent for over 3 decades, while much of Africa fell to European rule. Her isolationist stance came at a cost, but her iron will protected her kingdom from the fate of colonization, at least during her lifetime. She is remembered today as a queen who prioritized independence over convenience and culture over compromise. Queen Muhumuza, the spirit warrior of Rwanda. In the misty highlands of Rwanda and Uganda, a queen rose not just as a political leader, but as a spiritual revolutionary. Her name was Queen Muhumuza. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Muhumuza, the wife of the Rwandan king Kigeli IV Rwabugiri, became a priestess of the spirit Nyabingi, a force associated with resistance and divine justice. After her husband's death, Muhumuza declared herself the mother of the rightful king and led a spiritual and military uprising against German and British colonial forces. She gathered thousands of followers, many believing she was a prophetess with divine protection. Colonial powers viewed her not just as a rebel, but a threat to European religious authority. Captured by the British in 1913, she was exiled until her death, but her legend lived on. Queen Muhumuza is considered a forerunner of the Nyabingi resistance movement, which later inspired anti-colonial resistance across East Africa, and even influenced the Rastafari movement in Jamaica. Queen Nandi, mother of Shaka Zulu. Not all queens wear crowns. Some shape empires from behind the scenes. Queen Nandi, mother of Shaka Zulu, was one such queen. Born in the late 18th century, Nandi was the daughter of a Langeni chief. She became pregnant by Sinzangakona, a Zulu prince, but was rejected by his clan. Raising Shaka alone in exile, Nandi endured humiliation, poverty, and hardship. But she was fiercely protective and instilled in her son a sense of destiny, resilience, and unshakable pride. As Shaka rose to power and founded the Zulu Empire, Nandi became Queen Mother, revered and feared. Her counsel shaped many of Shaka's early policies, and her influence extended far beyond maternal affection. When she died in 1827, Shaka declared a year of mourning, banning all crops, milk, and even pregnancies during the period. Queen Nandi's legacy is not just biological, it is political, spiritual, and foundational to the Zulu nation. Queen Moremi Ajasoro, heroine of the Yoruba. In the ancient Yoruba city of Ile-Ife, there lived a queen whose intelligence and bravery saved her people. Her name was Queen Moremi Ajasoro. During her reign, Ile-Ife was repeatedly raided by mysterious invaders known as the Igbo, not to be confused with the ethnic group of today. The people lived in fear, but Moremi had a plan. She offered herself as a sacrifice, deliberately allowing herself to be captured so she could learn the secrets of the enemy. Living among the Igbo, she discovered their warriors disguised themselves in raffia and palm leaves, making them appear supernatural. Escaping back to Ile-Ife, she shared the secret. During the next invasion, her people set fire to the attackers, revealing their mortality and defeating them for good. To thank the gods for victory, Moremi sacrificed her only son, an act that sealed her place in Yoruba mythology. Today, her statue, one of the tallest in Africa, towers in Ile-Ife, symbolizing sacrifice, strategy, and unmatched patriotism. Kandake Shanakdakite, matriarch of Meroe. Long before Cleopatra, a dynasty of African queens ruled the land of Nubia, and among them stood Kandake Shanakdakite, a queen of fierce dignity. She ruled the kingdom of Meroe, part of ancient Kush, around the 2nd century BCE, during a time of artistic and architectural prosperity. Shanakdakete is the earliest known ruling queen in Nubian history, documented through inscriptions in Meroitic script, one of Africa's oldest written languages. She was not a ceremonial figure. She ruled in her own name, led construction of pyramids and temples, and even appeared in art and inscriptions with regalia typically reserved for male kings. The Kandakes, or Candaces, were often warrior queens who ruled independently or alongside male consorts, commanding respect from even the Roman Empire. Shanakdakite's reign reminds the world that African women were writing, ruling, and building civilizations. While much of the world was still forming kingdoms, their names shall not be forgotten. From the Sahel to the Sahara, from the forests of West Africa to the highlands of Ethiopia, the voices of queens whisper through time. These 10 women were more than monarchs. They were builders, protectors, strategists, visionaries. They fought foreign invaders. They created nations, preserved culture, dignity, and memory. They were mothers of nations. Their stories deserve more than folklore. They deserve textbooks, documentaries, murals, and voices that will never be silenced. So when they ask, where are Africa's queens? We answer, Amina, Yanenga, Nzinga, Makeda, Amani Renas, Ranavalona, Muhumuza, Nandi, Moremi, Shanakdakete. Their names echo across the continent. Their legacy is our inheritance. Know their names, share their stories, reclaim the narrative.